Hello everyone, today we will see how we can record data from an Android app in CSV files. So I'll just show an example about what we are going to do. I have created a registration form over here. So I'm entering some data. Say I'm writing my name over here, Lena, email ID. I'm entering some password. I'm selecting the gender. I'm checking whether I want to receive the newsletters or no. When I click on save, I should get a toast message saying data is saved successfully. Here, if I'm trying to load my CSV file again, so I'll just load my CSV file again. So I'm refreshing and loading my CSV file again. So if you can see the data which we entered right now, I was able to see that data. Similarly, if I try to update some data, so I want to update the data for user number 3 and I want to change the name from this FGFH what was given over here to something else. So say, hey, and then rest of the things I'll just update over here. When I click on update, I'm again refreshing this, opening my table. If you can see, now the data has been replaced to hey instead of whatever was the earlier record. If I simply click on clear, all the data will be cleared. So this is what we are going to do in our app today. I'll go to the code. So I've created a new project over here. Now, so that we can just hurry up a little bit with the things and avoid the basic stuff, I have already created an XML file over here. In this, what we have is we have the edit text. So if you can see over here, so we have 4 edit texts over here. We have a radio group. So I have a radio group inside which I have placed the radio buttons. The orientation I have kept it as horizontal so that the radio buttons are besides one another. Then we have a checkbox. After that, we have 3 buttons, save, update and clear, which are inside a linear layout, and the orientation for this linear layout, that is horizontal. So this is how we have designed our XML. Apart from that, I have added few things in my Java file as well. So what we have done over here is I have declared already the variables for all my components. So I have variables for my 4 edit text, that is edit text name, email ID, password and user ID. Then I have variable for radio group, checkbox and 3 buttons. Then I have given all the references as well. So I have given the references of my XML file and the Java variables over here. After that, I have created 3 set on click listeners for this 3 buttons. So button save, update and clear. For that, I have created over here 3 set on click listeners inside which I have called their respective methods. So I have created methods of save user data, which I have called over here on the save button, update user data, which has been called on update button, and clear form, which has been called on the clear button. Now, what I have mentioned over here inside the save user data right now, what I have done is I have just declared the variables name, email ID, password, and I have extracted their values. How? So whatever is your edit text dot get text dot toString. So I've like using edit text name dot get text, I have extracted the value. Using dot toString, I have converted the value to string and then I have saved it in this variables. So that I have done for all the components. How we did it for radio group, that's a little bit different. So whatever is your radio group dot get check button ID, so that will give you whatever is a checked button ID at that particular time. You are converting that value, typecasting that value to radio button, then using the get text property and converting it to toString. Then finally we have our checkbox value. So here I'm checking which is the value that is checked, whether it is yes or no, using the ternary operators. The same thing I have done over here in the update user data as well. Just one more field which I have added over here, that is the user ID to update. Why? Because what we said is that whatever is the user ID, user is going to enter some ID over here and then whatever is the value that we have to modify. So for that, I'll have to extract the user ID value. So that's what we have done over here. In clear form, what we have done is whatever are our edit text that is there or whatever is our checkbox or radio group, we have just cleared all the value over there and check how we have just set the value to null over here. And then I have 2 more methods over here, generate user ID and SHA-256 encryption, which I have just kept blank for now. We will see in the code how do we use it. So now let us start with the code. The first thing that I have to do over here is I'll require to give a file name. So we give it in this way where we are declaring our variables. So private static final file name will be a string value. So string file name, and then I'm giving some file name. So I'm calling this file as users dot or users data dot CSV. So once this is done, okay. So we are done with this. We are completely done with our onCreate method. In onCreate method, we are just going to have the initializations, that is the references of our XML files, and the set on click listeners for all the 3 buttons. Okay, now after that we go for a save method. So in save user data, now what we are going to do is, okay, before we go for save user data, when I'm saving the data, I also will have to pass the user ID. The user ID will be auto-generated for every record. So for that, we will have to populate this method, that is a generate user ID method. So now how do we do that? So first of all, this generate user ID method, I want it to return back an int value. That is whatever is the value of the particular user. So whether it's user 1, 2, 3, it will return back a user value. So I'm giving its return type as int. After int, what I'm doing over here is I am declaring the variable user ID. I'm initializing its value to 1. Okay. Then I am going to have everything written in my try catch so that if there is some error, we can print the stack. So we are writing over here try catch. Now what kind of exception can come over here? Since we are going for file handling, the basic exceptions that come over here, that is the IO exception. So I am handling my IO exception over here, IO exception E. Then what I'm going to do is, in case if there is some error, I'm just going to print the stack trace. Finally, what this method is going to do is it's going to return the user ID. Okay. Now we'll write our try block. So in the try block, now what I want to do is, now the first thing, so if I want to generate a user ID, I will have to read the file. If I have to read the file, I have to open it for the file input purpose. So for that, we'll have to access the file input stream class and create an object. So file input stream, I'll just call it as FIS, how it's done in general. Then open file input. What does it require? It requires a string name. What is this string name? So this is basically the file name that it requires. We already have it saved in our file name variable. So, okay, so this is what it requires. After that, the second thing that it requires over here, that is how do you read from the file? So we are going to use the buffered reader to read it line by line. So I'm going to create an object of buffered reader over here. So I'm going to call this as buffered reader is equal to reader, then new buffered reader, and then again new input stream reader. This is how you declare the buffered reader over here, FIS. Okay, yeah. So we are done with this. Now, okay, so what is this called? This is called your try with resources. Then whatever is the value of a particular row is, so I have to analyze first, right? Exactly how many rows are there in my file. Once I know the number of rows, only then I can give the next user ID for the next row, whichever row would be coming in. So for that, I'll require a variable which will hold my line temporarily. So for that purpose, I'm declaring this string line. Then I'm going to parse through my file. So I'm just going to say while line equal to reader dot read line. Oh, sorry. What is the variable that I gave over here? I gave reader. Okay. Reader dot read line is not equal to null. So until unless I'm not reaching end of my file, I'm going to parse it. And what I'm going to write inside this, that is, I'm going to split it. How am I going to split it? Since it is CSV file, I'm going to split it wherever I come across a comma. What is CSV file? That is the comma separated values. So wherever I come across a comma, I'm going to split it, split the fields. So it's going to be in this way, line dot split. And where am I going to split it? Wherever I come across a comma. Okay, so comma is going to be my regex expression. Then I'm going to give the value of user ID. So what would be the value of user ID in this case? That will be integer.parseInt. And whatever is my index of fields plus 1. So if there are two records, then what would be the user ID that I would be giving right now? 3. If it's if the fields index I'm getting it as 3, then I'll be giving the value as 4. So basically increment the ID by 1. So this line will basically increment the value. Whatever is the current value of user ID, it will increment it by 1. So that's it. That's what we are going to do over here in generate user ID. Okay. Now, once this is done, then I'll go to my save user data. So now I can simply write my save user data quickly. So over here, I haven't given any value to user ID. So how I'll give it is this way. User ID is equal to, I'll just call my generate user ID method. So for every new value that is being saved in my CSV file, a new user ID will be auto-generated. Then how do I pass this data? So what I have to do is I'll have to create a variable. So I'm just going to call it a CSV line. That will be a single row in my CSV file. And I'm going to separate it using the comma separated values. So what are the values which I want to enter when someone saves the data? That is going to be user ID separated by a comma plus, then what is the next value that I have? I have name. So I just copy this plus and this part. So after this, what is the next value that I have is email. Then the next value that I have is password. The next value is gender. Then the next value is newsletter. Okay. And after I'm done with newsletter, what I'm going to do is whatever is a new record. So for if this is a line for record 1, the record 2, it should be coming on the next line and not on the same line. So if how you can see over here in the previous example, how we said this was my first record, right? So the next record, it should be coming on the next line. In that case, how do we do it? So I'll just have a \n over here. So whatever is my next set of data, that would be coming over here on the next line. Okay. So now we are done with our entire this CSV line over here. After this, what I want to do is I want to save it over here in my CSV file. Again, whatever it is, I'm just going to have a try catch block over here for my error handling. Again, I'll write my catch block over here. Now inside this catch block, the common exception which comes, that is the IO exception. So I'm going to have IO exception over here. And then whatever is the exception, I'm going to print the stack trace. And also, since the user wouldn't be able to understand the stack trace for sure, we are just going to give a message to the user saying that this is the context and there was some error saving the data. So the user knows that the data hasn't been saved to the file. And then I'm going to give it the length. So length long and dot show. Okay. So my catch part is done. Now I'll go for try. Now in try, I want to write to the file. So previously, if you saw over here, what we were doing is we were just generating a user ID. That time I had to read from the file to know how many records have already been entered in the file. So for that, what I did is I required the file input stream since I wanted to read from the file. Now I want to make changes to the file or write to the file. So for that, what we require is a file output stream. So I'm going to write over here file output stream. After file output stream, the object, creating the object FOS, open file for output. Then what does it require? A string name and int mode. String name is the file name that you want to give. The mode is you want the file in which mode. So I want it to be open in the append mode since I want to go on adding to the file. Okay. So this is done. Then I'll write my line. So FOS dot write. Now, if you can see whatever the data is there, it only accepts the byte form of data. Whereas the data which we want to write, that is in the string form. So this line, CSV line, that's in the string form. So what we'll have to do is, we'll have to convert the CSV line into byte form. How do we do that? CSV dot get bytes. So what it will do is, it will convert our string data into the bytes data and then we can save it to our file. So this was for our save user data. Now the next part that we have to do is we have to even update the data. So to update the data, it will be done in this way. Before that, now this encryption part. So what I want is that this password which is there, I don't want it to be saved directly, like be visible to the user even in my CSV file. So if you can see over here, the password field, it is not directly visible to the user. I had entered some other password, but this password is saved in an encrypted form. This encrypted form right now is SHA-256. So I want that this data should be encrypted and saved in the SHA-256 encrypted form. How do I do that? So for that, I have a method which I have created over here, that is a SHA-256 encryption. So I'll just quickly show you how we can go for SHA-256 encryption of a password so that it's not visible to anyone. So this method, I wanted to return back the string data type first of all. That is whatever the string you saw right now. Whatever is my data, again, I put it inside the try catch. Double brackets came in. So I'm going to put the data inside my try catch. Catch again. Now over here, which type this will be? So this will be no such algorithm exception, that in case whatever is the algorithm I'm trying to tell over here for encryption, if it's not existing SHA-256, then it will be giving me an error. Then again, what it will do is it will print the stack trace. So it will print the stack trace and it will not return anything. So return nulls. Null, since it's a string value, so I'm returning back over here null. Okay. So brackets are correct. Now for try. Okay. Now for try block, this SHA-256 or any of the cryptographic algorithms, they lie inside the message digest class. So I'll have to first of all create an object of message digest. That's what I'm doing over here. Message digest dot get instance, and I have to give the algorithm over here or provide the key of algorithm. So the algorithm which I'm using over here, that is SHA-256. So I'll have to give the key. So it's written in this way, SHA-256. Okay. Then the next thing is that this password which is there, now I'll have to convert it into a byte array. So I'm going to convert it into byte array over here and then convert it into hexadecimal value, so that because whenever you're encrypting that, it's going to be in the raw format, right? It's not going to be user readable, or it will be just in 010101. So for it to be just in some kind of a human readable format, instead of having it in the raw format, we are going to convert it into hexadecimal code, something like this. So for that, we are following these steps. So the first thing after that is I'm going to convert it into a byte array in this way. Byte hash is equal to, so first of all, what I'll have to do is whatever is the password that is there, from where am I getting password? So this password, okay, this password which I have over here. Where do I have my password? Oh, over here, the password. So whatever is the password that we are getting it from the user, that particular password, that is getting passed over here as an input parameter. So how do I get it over here? When I save the password, that time itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call my this SHA-256 method over here, and this entire thing I'm going to paste it over here. So my password is going to be saved in the encrypted format. The same thing I'm going to do when I'm updating as well. Okay, so this is done. Now this password which is there, first of all, I need to convert it into the bytes format. Once I have converted into the bytes format, so how do I extract it? Is in this way, message digest dot digest, and then I encrypt this password. So this should be inside this digest part. Okay. So what we have done is we have encrypted it with SHA-256 over here using the method. Like this is the reference variable which I had created, dot digest is its method. And what are we encrypting inside this? So whatever is the password after converting it into the byte format. Then we have a string builder over here. String builder is equal to new string builder. I have created the object of string builder so that I can go on appending the values. Then I'm going to have a for loop over here. For loop over what? So over my byte array. byte array B. Okay, this is the byte array that we have. And here what is going to happen, whatever is our string builder, we are going to go on appending the values. So as and how we go on getting the bytes, we are going to append the value. And also what we are going to do is we are going to convert the value to hexadecimal value. So to hex string, and how do we represent it is in this way, 0xff ampersand B. And yeah, and after I'm done with this, so I'm done with my try block over here. Once I'm done with my try block, if my try block is working fine, everything is okay, what do? I return hexa value over here. So this is my I missed something. Yeah, sorry. What do? Is I return my builder dot toString. So I return my appended value of the year. So that's it. This was for our SHA-256 encryption that we have done over here. This 0fx, what it's there, that is basically 255 in your decimal. So it's an unsigned integer masking that we are doing over here for the SHA-256 purpose. Now we'll go back to our last method, that is update user data. So now for update user data, what we'll require over here is we'll have to declare few things. First is I'll require to have an object of file input stream. Why file input stream? Because if I have to update the data, first of all I have to read from the file as well, right? So first I'll just do for the declarations. That's file input stream. I'll also require an object for file output stream, since I have to modify the data. So I'll also have to update the file or write to the file. Then buffered reader, because I have to read from the file again. Then yeah, we'll just initialize it to null and keep right now, and then we'll declare, and then we'll do the further initialization. Just declare it to null right now. Okay. Then we'll go for string builder. Created all these objects. Now whatever is our data, again we'll have everything inside the try catch part. So we'll have this inside the try catch part, and here in case if there is some error, the user won't understand, so we'll just have a toast message for the user saying error modifying the data. I'll be publishing one more video for database handling, SQLite database handling. There also you can use this SHA-256 encryption. Okay. So this is there. Okay. Now we'll write the steps what we are going to do over here inside our try block. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to read the existing CSV file. Then step 2, we are going to check if user ID in edit text matches the user ID to update. Oh, sorry. Check user ID if it, like, if the one in database matches the user ID which has been entered in the edit text. And then step 3, what we are going to do is we are going to write the updated content back to the file. Okay. And now here again we are going to have two sub steps. What they are going to be, inside of here we are going to check if it matches, then update the data, or if it doesn't matches, then keep original data. Okay, so these are few steps which we are going to do right now. Okay. So the first thing, to read the existing CSV file, how do we do that? We'll require the file open file input purpose over here. So input, open file input, the file name we already have it. Then initialize the reader, that is a buffered reader. So buffered reader is equal to new buffered reader, inside that new input stream reader. And what is our input, which file do we want to read? So FI. So this will basically allow you to read the file line by line. Then how we did it in the generate user ID. So I'll require a variable which will temporarily hold my line. So for that purpose, I'm having this variable line. Then I want to parse through the file. So again, while the line is not, no, sorry, while the line is equal to buffered reader dot read line is not equal to null. So unless this particular statement is true, what you do is you split the data. How do we split the data? So we split the data wherever we come across the comma, So I'm having a string array, giving this variable name as fields. Here we are splitting the line. Where are we splitting the line? Wherever we come across a comma. So our regex expression over here is a comma. Our regex expression over here is a comma. Then inside the string user ID, what we are going to save over here, whatever is the index at that particular point. Okay, so once this is done, then we are going for our step 2. So the step 2, okay, this is also basically inside our while loop only. So this step 2 is also inside our while loop. Here again, I'm checking over here whether the user ID matches or no. So for the first one, if the user ID matches, so if user ID equals to whatever is the user ID that the user has entered in the edit text. So this user ID which we have currently, whether that is equal to whatever is the user ID which the user has entered in the edit text, if that particular thing is true, then what do? We need to modify the data. So we have, how do we modify the data in this way? String updated line, what is that? We'll have to write that particular line to the file. So from where do I get this? This would be the same thing, right? Whatever is the CSV line, what we had entered previously. Just whatever is a modified data, that will be there. And then how do I do it? So we already have an object of string builder which we had created over here. So builder dot append, and what do I append over here? The updated line. Else what do? We keep the original data. So if I have to keep the original data, I just do over here builder dot append, and append what? Append whatever is the current line that the builder is holding, and append what? \n, so that since nothing has been modified in the original data, I just go over here and to the next line. Then we'll go for the step 3. So what is our step 3? That is whatever is the content, I just want to overwrite the file with the updated data. So for that, I'll require the open file input purpose. So for open file input, what does it require again? Open file input. Now the mode which we have over here, that would be the mode private, since I want to override something and not append something. So I'm going for mode private over here. So it will be overwritten. After that, I want to write something to the file. So fos.write. What type of data does it accept? It only accepts the byte data. So whatever is there right now in my string builder, the entire appended line. I'm going to have that builder dot. I'm first of all going to convert the data to string, and then I'm going to convert the data to bytes and then write the particular data. If all this is successful, I'm going to give a toast to the user saying that data updated successfully. Data updated successfully. Since we are saving everything in internal memory, we don't need to provide any kind of permissions in the manifest file. So we are done with the code. Now we can just run this and see how it's working. So we will run this now. My emulator is starting. So I am going to just save some data over here. I'm writing my name, Leena. I'm writing @gmail.com. So I'm writing some email ID over here. Yeah, so this dot dot, if I must have missed, here the input type for password, I have kept it as input type password. So because of that, what is happening? Whatever is my password, it's coming in this dot format. Female, I want to receive the newsletter, save. Check over here. Everything is properly called. Everything is happening. Clear is working. 1 minute. Just let me go through this and check if there is some problem in the logcat, if I've missed something. Yeah, I think I've missed something. Radio button. There's some problem with the radio button. 1 minute. Let me just check for the radio button. Dot get text. I think we have done it properly. Get text or toString. Oh, I didn't select a value. I think I'll just run this again and see. Let us run this again. So nothing over here. I'll go for here. eb@gmail.com. I'm entering some password. Female, I'm selecting over here. And again, I'm getting some error over here. Have I missed out on anything? Dot get radio checked button. This is right. Dot get text. Dot toString. And then dot toString. So I've done that. Okay. Here as well, I've converted it to dot toString, so it is right. What's the error? Oh, the data is updated. It's coming. Okay. The data is. I think I didn't write the toast message for save. Oh yeah, the problem is I didn't write the toast message for save. So the data was saved, but since there was no toast message, we were not able to understand. I'll write the toast message saying data is saved. Data is saved. So save. 1 minute. We'll just check if the data has been saved over here. So I'm going over here in file. To check the data, you have to go over here, view, tool windows. You have to go over here to device explorer. After going to device explorer, you can go over here inside the data folder. Again inside the data folder, and whatever is your package name of your file. So what is the package name? com.example.file handling. So I'll go over here for com.example.file handling. Inside their files and user data.csv. So I have entered the data so many times, save. So that's why, yeah, all the data is coming over here. Okay. So, oh, sorry, I just opened another one. 1 minute. And this is the right one, right? com.example.file handling. So it's working properly. Our data is getting saved over here. It's getting updated message we got. And the clear date part is also working properly. If I'm writing, we didn't check for the clear part. Yeah, the clear is also working. So that's it. That's how we have. So that's all. So that's how we have saved our data in the CSV file. Thank you so much. If you like our video, please subscribe to our channel, Deviston. Thank you.